An accidental meeting. This incident dates back to January 2011. I was studying for my MBA then, and one evening I got a call that my younger brother had met with an accident. Luckily, the hospital was just 10 minutes away from my college, so I rushed to go see him. My family members were all waiting outside the ICU and told me that his condition was pretty serious. A little while later, we were informed that he was out of danger. But after that, we started hearing him scream in agony like he was in a lot of pain. While my parents were talking to the doctors about this, I sneaked into his room. As soon as I entered, he stopped screaming. He said, "Isn't it your birthday today? Happy birthday." This surprised me, but even then I went and sat beside him. Then I asked him about how his accident occurred, and he seemed to have no answer as to how he fell off his bike. In the middle of this, he gets off his bed and starts limping towards the window. Imagine, a man who was screaming in pain, with bandages all over his body, getting up and walking. I asked him what he was doing and says, "Watch me." My younger brother was about to jump out of the 6th-floor window of the hospital. Luckily, I ran towards him and tried to stop him. When I was able to take control, I yelled out to my parents and everybody pulled him in. By now, his face wasn't looking normal and neither was he behaving in a normal manner. Later that day, he started chanting that if he stays in the hospital any longer, he will be dead. My mom decided to take action and take him home. He came home and napped, but when he woke up, he began behaving weirdly again. He was peeping through the windows in tears and he told my mom, "She has come to get me." He then jumped out of the sofa and ran into the puja room and kept peeping outside. I gathered my courage and asked her who she was talking about. And he pointed towards the swing set outside and said, "She wants to take me." I couldn't see anyone out there. After some time, he calmed down, but not for too long. A little later, he stood on his toes in front of an opened cupboard and started laughing very loudly. When we probed him over and over about this, he said that it was her who was laughing and not him. That night, I was awakened from my sleep by the feeling of someone tying up my toes. After a lot of deliberation, I opened my eyes to see what was going on and realized I was sleeping next to a woman who wasn't my mother. I screeched so loud that everybody at my place woke up. My parents dismissed it as my imagination and we then began looking for my younger brother. We found him on the terrace talking to himself. When my mother asked him, he said, "I have to go tomorrow with her, so I was just talking about it." Following this, he began addressing himself as Aparna. My mother had had enough by this point and called the local priest. He told us that my brother has bought something with himself from the place he had his accident. We later learned that a girl who was just about to get married, died at the same spot of his accident. In the end, we had to take my younger brother to an ashram in Gujarat, where he took months to become normal once again. An accidental meeting. This incident